Do not adjust your tracking. You are now listening to the VHSaturday podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of VHS Saturday, the show where we discuss the strange and unusual, odd and obscure VHS tapes that we obtain through thrift, gift, and grift. My name is Henry.
And I'm Allison.
And this week, our episode goes up the day before 420. And so what better way to celebrate than to get high and watch the peak of 1980s anti-drug PSAs, cartoon all-stars to the rescue.
We decided for this episode, we would each eat an edible before we started recording. We would see how far we could get in before we were just incoherent, in the spirit of the holiday.
You don't think this counts as the 80s, even though it's like...
No.
It was April 21st, 1990. They were a day late and $1 short. Aired on the 21st of 1990.
Yeah, this aired on April 21st. Like, they're trying to tell people not to do drugs the day after 420. How many people got fucked up on 420, woke up the next morning, saw this airing on TV, and were like, oh shit, I should have said no. I should have just said no yesterday. It's too late.
Alf is in this.
Might be jumping the gun.
No, hold on. No, this is how it's relevant. Are you going to really look me in the eyes and tell me that Alf is part of the 1990s and not the 1980s?
Okay, to be fair.
Or the Smurfs?
Yeah, and then the Alvin and the Chipmunks. This cartoon that came out in 1990 is peak 1980s. I'll concede the point because I want to move on. We have this crazy special to talk about. I just want to get into it.
In case somebody is not familiar with this gem.
Which, honestly, this is not really obscure. In terms of VHS, I mean, there was, a limited release of it, but it's
That was distributed by McDonald's.
Yeah, but it's not really hard to find. Honestly, the original television broadcast is harder to find.
What's interesting to note about the original television broadcast was that it was a simulcast between multiple networks and also just multiple countries. Was it aired on other countries the same day?
No.
Okay.
So some countries got it way later. But the cool thing about all of these is that pretty much whatever country this aired in had an intro by that country's leader, or at least their vice leader, or whatever you want to say. So for the US version, it opens up with an introduction literally from the president of the United States at the time, George H.W. Bush, and his wife, Barbara.
Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue is the powerful story of a teenager dealing with drug and alcohol abuse.
Some of your favorite cartoon characters will help you understand how drugs and alcohol can ruin your life. So watch the program. Talk about it with your family.
And make the right decision. Stay away from drugs and alcohol.
They were super stoked about this project.
You left out their dog, Millie. Millie was in the shot, too.
Millie, forgive me.
Very important.
Millie was in it.
Almost every family has had a first dog at the White House.
So we called it the peak of drug PSAs because it doesn't get better than this.
It's the Super Smash Bros. Of cartoons.
Exactly. The film is introduced by the president. The funding was from McDonald's, distributed by Buena Vista Home Video, who, does a lot of
Disney.
It's Disney. Yeah, this was actually executive produced by Roy E. Disney.
We got Warner Brothers working on this. We got Deke working on this.
Hanna-Barbera.
Like I said, it's a Super Smash Bros. Of cartoons, and that's how come it was simulcast, actually. I thought that was really interesting. I didn't know that until actually today, that they simulcasted it between ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox because they wanted to make sure every fucking kid saw this.
Yes.
And you couldn't, if you're a kid on Saturday morning on the 21st, and you're trying to watch cartoons and you see this fucking bullshit, and you're like, oh no, I'm going to switch to ABC. Oh, fuck, it's the same. No matter what channel you went to watch your fucking Saturday morning cartoons, you had to sit through this shit.
The irony is that they held us prisoner with this, and the policies that enacted this special would also hold millions of people prisoner, literally, for shitty reasons. So, as you know, obviously, we are getting quite inebriated as every minute passes.
I'm fine.
Henry doesn't get affected by edibles nearly as much as I do, so...
I have to take literally twice as much as you do.
So, that might explain some things. I can't really predict how this is gonna go.
There's no edibles in this movie, though. There are some questionable drug things.
Yeah, okay. So the gist of the story is that there's this kid named Michael, and he steals his little sister Corey's piggy bank to try to score some drugs. And the cartoon characters all come to life and take him on this fucking, like, Christmas Carol style journey, looking into the future and the past and blah, blah, blah.
Some of them are cartoon characters. Some of them are toys. So, like, they want to wake her up because they realize her piggy bank has gone missing.
Yes.
So Winnie the Pooh is like, he comes alive. That's her doll she sleeps with. Mm-hmm. And who the fuck else was?
Okay,
no, the Smurfs.
The order of events are the Smurfs wake up first.
They emerge from his comic book.
Yeah, they're in a comic book on the floor.
And then Garfield's a fucking lamp. And Alf is a picture. And they start coming alive to they all are talking together to like wake her.
And then Slimer.
Wait, no, don't bring up Slimer yet.
Okay.
So anything that's a depiction of anything basically comes to life, including Kermit the Frog, but he's unaware that they set him off because he's an alarm clock,
right?
And he's like, I hate it when this happens. I don't know why I did a Pee Wee Herman voice
when this happens,
but so she's like, why did I set an alarm on Saturday? And then she like leaves, right? Does she like...
No, like what? Because this is why we have to get to Slimer. Because Slimer floats in through the wall. It's not explained how he's in the real world. I guess, ghosts are just a thing. So, he's there. You don't need a justification for that.
So in the world that we just set up, it's very Toy Story-esque.
They really want to justify why these characters are in the real world.
Right. And then that is the only time we get any sort of explanation because Slimer just shows up. He's like, wah! And then he like...
he just floats in through the wall.
Right.
As ghosts do. And he somehow like shines a light on where the piggy bank normally is. I think he like eats a lamp or something and he's able to like shine light through his mouth. I don't know, but he shines it like a spotlight on the spot on her dresser where the piggy bank is. And so of course the first thing she sees when she wakes up is, oh my gosh, my piggy bank is missing.
And not, Slimer.
Yeah.
Fucking being.
Yeah. But while this is happening, there are other cartoons who went to find out where it was first. And so they find out that her older brother, Michael, stole the piggy bank. So Michael's going back to his room with the piggy bank and emptying the contents onto his bed. And there's a bunch of quarters and he's like, it's gotta be like $20 in here.
I counted. It was not. But I digress.
You counted.
Yeah, it's in fours. He just pours out a handful of change onto his fucking bed. It was like, $6.
Look, I don't know what weed prices were like back in 1990, but
that doesn't matter. It wasn't $20. He wasn't like, oh, this is gonna get me.
No, what I'm saying, like, what could you get with $6 in 1990? You get a joint for $6 now.
Yeah. So then the cartoon characters go underneath the bed and they find the box.
Well, they hide under the bed.
Right. Because it's like Toy Story. They can't be found.
Right.
But then later they're just like, hello, I'm here. You're in the park.
I think it's more like they were scared because Michael, he's already stealing. What else is he capable of?
Murder.
What other evils?
The drug PSA is something that we will make you murder people.
Will make you a terrorist. Theodore opens
up. He's got like a stash box underneath his
He's
bed
like,
there.
What is this stuff?
Oh, what's that funny smell? I hate to suggest this, but my guess would be marijuana. An unlawful substance used to experience artificial highs.
A very, uncomfortable thing to discuss when talking about Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue is, how do my favorite cartoon characters know what marijuana is? Like, I am a child on Saturday morning, April 21st, 1990, and I'm watching this cartoon. And I don't know what marijuana looks like.
No, I can understand if they knew what it looked like, but the fact is that based off that smell, that means Simon would have to be around. You can't describe a smell to someone. You can't read about a smell and have an accurate, concept. What does this smell like, really, you know? And so for Simon to say, well, from the smell of it, marijuana. The way he says it, it's just so degrading. Marijuana.
Yeah,
it's
he's
like
very disappointed.
It's like, fuck you, Simon. You're my favorite.
Oh,
but you know what? Fuck you.
Dude, I'm obsessed with the fucking Alvin and the Chipmunks
Dude, so
cartoon.
I was so obsessed as a kid.
Yes.
I really, really liked. I had dolls.
Yeah. There were so many good Alvin and the Chipmunks VHS back then.
I have their CDs.
Yes.
I have all their Christmas CDs.
So good.
Have you ever seen the 1960s Alvin and Chipmunks?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy shit.
I know. Anyway, so marijuana.
But okay, we found a freeze frame because we were looking at this box.
Yeah,
of
they show
marijuana paraphernalia.
They show the box, and we're like,
what the
hold
fuck
on a
is
second.
this? Like,
what the fuck is
it's
that?
like, okay, I see some matches.
Yeah, okay.
And then there's
like pulling up a picture of the box. It's like the bottom right corner, obviously matches.
Top left corner, they look like old moldy French fries, but we're assuming they're joints.
Yeah, or they're like blunt roaches or something. They're like dark brown and very
crumbly. They're like bent.
Yeah.
Like, damn, who fucking rolled that? Like, so then we also have. But then there's like the silver.
Yeah, what did they call it? The space clam?
Somebody's called it a space clam because it's a silver disc, like it looks like a silver clam.
Everybody get up. It's time to clam now. Welcome to the space clam. Like, you can literally Google Cartoon All-Stars, what's in the box, and it'll come up. Because people have just been so fascinated by the contents of the box. They're like, hold on, I don't know what the fuck that is.
What is that?
They only show it for like a second. But if you pause it, you're just like, hold on.
It's like, wait, this isn't anything that I've seen before.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I think it's another pack of matches in the bottom middle.
You know what? It's rolling papers. In the middle there.
Okay, so the thing that's really, really weird that was fucking with us is in the top right corner, and it looks like the toy you play with like the rolly thing, and you have the string, and you try to like
yo-yo?
No.
I think it looks like a sock, bro.
No.
What is that? What did you just pull up on Google? What is
ball
that?
catch. It looks like a ball catch, but
what? That thing?
It looks kind of.
No, this thing.
Yeah.
What is that?
Diabolo. So it's like you have a stick in each hand with a string, and this thing rolls up and down, and you build up momentum, and you throw it in the air, and you catch it, you kind of fucking tricks and shit. Yeah, it looks like one of them.
Yes,
it looks like
it really does.
That's all it looks like to me.
Maybe that's the thing he likes to play with when he's high.
Oh my god, same.
Do you know I like to spark up a joint and play with my space clam and my Diabolo?
Sometimes
Diabolo.
What could the space clam be?
I don't know. What is that? I would say like an ashtray or something.
Is it pliers like hole a road?
Oh,
I doubt it. Kind of looks like that. Anyway, back to the fucking plot of this goddamn.
So the fucking like studio overseas that they commissioned to animate this entire fucking movie in only 6 weeks, which is true, by the way. They were like, yeah, so the box has got drugs full of it. Can you just put some drug paraphernalia in there? And they're like, well, I don't know what drugs are.
I've done fucking drugs.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know, fucking space clam.
So anyway, Corey talks about her concern with Michael's changes behavior. Like they talk, he flips out and like leaves. I'm gonna fucking hide you. Fuck.
Yeah, I'm sure our listeners are well aware that, these edibles ain't shit.
So that's a secret code word. You're gonna activate them now.
Okay, what happens next, Henry?
He goes to the arcade.
Yes, to score his drugs. That's where all the kids like to sell and do drugs. Literally inside the arcade.
And then they magically end up outside of it. They're inside when they start dealing the drugs.
Yeah.
And then when they're doing the drugs, all of a sudden they're outside, but we don't see it. We know they're outside because we see the cop cars pull up. Fully within the realm of this at this point. God damn it. Like,
wait, are we just going to gloss over the fact that, okay, they're smoking a joint in the arcade or outside the arcade, wherever. They're smoking a joint in a place that is just way too public and inappropriate to smoke a joint at, especially as literal children. They're smoking, and then this one kid pulls fucking crack rocks out of his pocket all casually, like just bare palm, like, hey, check out these crack rocks, they'll get you real high.
And then we meet his friends Smoke.
Yeah.
We have another cartoon character, which is like his conscience, but people can't see it except him and the cartoon characters.
Smoke is basically like the devil on your shoulder.
Yeah.
He's like, peer pressure manifest.
The crack is like they're exchanging this crack, and then the cops come.
And they all run away.
They all run. They all book it. Smoke is chasing after Michael. We see a manhole cover because you know where this is going. We got our green friends.
Who lives in the sewer?
Who lives in the sewer that was in a cartoon in the 1980s? I don't know. So the manhole gets lifted and this kid gets yanked down, which was like, I don't know how you would do it when he's running forward. He would like slam into part of it because motion has to go forward somehow, You grab his legs, he's going to like slam his face because he's still got that forward momentum. But physics aside, fine.
Blah, blah, cartoon logic, blah, blah.
Then Michelangelo uses the manhole cover to smack Smoke as he's running by, and Smoke's like knocked out for a bit. And Michelangelo, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, is down there telling him drugs aren't cool.
Dude, your brain must be totally messed up.
You actually do a pretty good Michelangelo. We totally skipped the part where we meet Bugs Bunny.
Because
he runs into like a park.
He runs into an alley that like he's running away from the cops, and he gets to a dead end, and he turns around and he sees the shadow of the cop getting closer and closer. And then when he finally rounds the corner, it's literally fucking Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. And he doesn't question Bugs Bunny being there at all. So, like, is this a normal thing for cartoons just to come alive?
I mean, if you are a heathen who takes part in marijuana smoking, who knows what kind of crazy shit you see.
If this is just how it goes, that just cartoons come alive, like you're running from the cop, turns out to be Bugs Bunny, like, oh, all right. If they acted surprised at all, I would be like, oh, yeah, fuck. He sees it, surprised, and just accepts it, right?
Yeah.
But no, he just instantly accepts the fact that Bugs Bunny's talking to him.
I think he has a moment later where he says something like, I don't even know what's real anymore. But I feel like that he says that later than this, like.
Yeah, that's after he has, like, the fucking, like, acid trip.
Yeah. The fucking produced by Mike Judge.
Yeah, it's exactly. It looks exactly like that sort of thing.
But first, we need to touch on the fact that Bugs Bunny has a fucking time machine.
Oh, no.
Has a literal fucking time machine.
He traps Smoke, right? He says, we're going to need this. And he pulls out this remote control from no pockets because he's Bugs Bunny, pushes this button, throws the remote control down, and then we see this metal sphere with a submarine door, a ring on top of it, and 2 antennas. And Michael immediately goes, "You have a time machine."
Look, I didn't know that was a time machine, okay? I thought that was a fucking UFO.
It looks like a spaceship of or a submarine.
It looks like the way spaceships are drawn in like Looney Tunes cartoons.
Exactly. And it's
like Marvin the Martian.
Exactly.
What did you say? It looked like the thing from The Fly?
Oh yeah, it looks like the teleport machines from The Fly. He's got the submarine hatch door, and so it looks like anything, and a time machine doesn't actually exist. So what is a time machine? Who knows?
Deep.
Like, it doesn't exist. So it can be literally anything a writer wants to be, whether that being a DeLorean or a refrigerator or a virtual reality helmet.
A DeLorean? Why the fuck didn't they make it a DeLorean? They did references to everything. I know, right? 80s.
And Back to the Future did have a cartoon in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Like, it should have been like the DeLorean. Like Doc Brown should have showed up there.
That's how kids at that time thought of time travel.
Oh yeah,
like,
hands down.
It was fresh in their minds.
Yeah, it was. I'm telling you. Like, I remember. But
missed opportunity. You're gonna shill? Like, just go all the way with it. You were so close.
But yeah, so Michael goes, "You have a time machine," which would mean he would have to have seen a time machine before, let alone the same make and model that Bugs Bunny's got, because I highly doubt he engineered that himself.
Maybe it was Acme. They put out some pretty good stuff.
Fair. Does Michael shop at Acme in the time machine section?
Bugs Bunny does.
That's what I guess.
Like how does
Michael see this thing with no markings go, maybe that's a time machine.
Maybe the time machine is actually his second time seeing it, that it's coming back. So he's like entered a time loop where like it's like Tenet. And so he's going
This is how we have to make this make sense.
Look, okay, I didn't think this hard about it because I'm like, they're cartoons. They're not really explaining a lot of the logic. They're not getting deep with it.
And that's fine, but I think really this is the weirdest part for me is, how did he know that's a time machine?
Yeah, that is very bizarre.
Like, that he would have weird. He says it in a way that he recognizes it. It's not, what is it? Well, it's a time machine. Yeah, you have a time machine?
What if it's like a teleporter?
Right. I thought it was a teleporter. Like it's just, it looks like a teleporter.
What if it's like a sleeping pod or a rocket ship or something? Like, you automatically say
bomb shelter.
Yeah. And you're like, oh yeah, time machine. How do you know that?
Like, all they needed to add was, what is that?
Yeah.
It's a time machine. You got a time machine? That's it. But he goes, you got a time machine.
Oh wait, so why is Bugs Bunny just whipping out a time machine? What's his goal with doing that? He wants to take Michael and he wants to show him yesteryear, 2 years ago, when Michael was a good kid and didn't do drugs. So they're showing him, like I said, this is like Ghost of Christmas Past type shit. Being like, look at, you were so happy. You didn't need drugs.
And then that's when they go back to the current time.
Back to the future.
Trying to avoid saying that. But they do. They go back to the future, which is now the past.
Right.
But then it was the present.
This time travel is more complicated than Terminator Genesis.
So then he meets up with his friends, and that's when they do the crack.
Wait, in the park?
Yeah. After we see him his first time smoking weed, then Bugs Bunny returns into the present time, and he meets up with his friends. You know, he's like showing off crack, and then she just steals his wallet.
Smoke takes the wallet out of his pocket and throws it to her, and she catches it and runs away. And then he chases after her.
And then they meet up with Baby Kermit, Miss Piggy, Gonzo, and they get into the roller coaster with them.
Yeah, it's like this crazy bad trip. They're like inside his brain.
Yeah, he is inside his brain. We see these neurons going off.
Inside me?
Michelangelo like disappears, I feel like, at some point because
he disappears from the cover. He's the only character in the movie who's not shown on the cover art.
Maybe he was a surprise.
I don't know, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first movie, came out that same year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Had it on VHS.
Dude, you know what? I want a VHS of the Coming Out of Our Shells tour. Like, I just love it. It's so cringy. And then there's the behind the scenes of the Coming Out of Our Shells tour, which I think would just be, of course, another excellent addition to my collection.
I agree.
Yeah. So they're inside this fucking brain.
Where does Gonzo come from? Like,
he just literally pops up from the bottom of the screen. Look, those poor, overworked overseas animators only had 6 weeks.
He just like shows up in fucking Michael's brain, like, hey, I'm Gonzo.
You're telling me that like you're not just going about your business and suddenly just a Muppet pops up every once in a while?
Oh my god. Makes no fucking sense at all.
Just accept it, Henry. This is our reality now.
And then Huey, Dewey, and Louie and Tigger, they show up. Because the track, it goes off the track and it starts going crazy.
And it crashes
like,
through glass.
And then like Tigger just shows up and the fucking ducks from DuckTales.
Yeah. And Michael's like literally laying in the grass, just going like, help me, help me.
Oh yeah, because like the brain's imploding because this is when he's skateboarding, right?
Yeah.
And he's like high as fuck and he's skateboarding. And like, I guess Michael and them are like looking through his eyes and they're watching himself from the third person. Doesn't make sense still.
Yeah, like Inside Out.
Like how?
Or like Osmosis Jones.
How are they looking through his eyes and they're seeing someone like 3/4 view next to him? Like,
yeah. Bad camera angles.
It doesn't make sense. Anyway,
64 level camera.
He's like skateboarding on like one foot and he's like, whoa. The brain's about to implode. And so there's like literally an exit door. And
I wish there was an exit door to my brain.
And they all go there. And then this is where they're all dicks. He's like trying to get out the door too. And they're like, they literally say, you're on your own. And they like shut the door.
Yeah. They leave him. I think that Kermit's quote is, abandoned brain.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said abandoned brain.
And so they all abandon Michael. They're like, see ya. They just leave and shut the door
They
behind
shut
him.
the door on him. So then does he like crash through his like eyeball like glass?
Yeah.
He like punches out his eyeball glass. This makes no sense.
Trust us, folks. It's just it works.
This is what happens. And then we see him tumble into like the grass, and then he's like, I'm seeing ducks now. Then they sing a song.
Yeah.
Wonderful ways to say no.
Yeah. This song, believe it or not, is literally written by Alan Menken and Howard Ashman, who also wrote the songs for Disney's Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin.
There's myriad wild and wonderful ways to say no. No thanks. No
Better learn a few and take 'em wherever you go.
No thanks, no sir.
If your pal says let's get high,
Here's a practical reply.
go ahead, let's fly, spit right in his eye and say no!
I found this Vice article where this author actually spoke with Jim Cummings, the man behind Winnie the Pooh, and he asked him, how do you feel about this project in retrospect? And Jim said, the one-day solo recording session was fun, and unlike many of his colleagues, he had the foresight to nix any lines that would have Pooh articulating an intimate knowledge of the seedy world of drugs. He's an innocent. It makes no sense for him to even know those words, Jim told me. So it's interesting that You know, he stepped in and was like, meh. But, you know, the voice actors for Alvin and the Chipmunks were like, yeah, that's fine.
So Michael wakes up, right, and thinks it was a bad trip, bad dream, whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah, he wakes up in bed somehow. He seems to be blacking out a lot.
I don't know if that's bad storytelling or if that's like that I'm trying to say this is what it's like. Where are you going? Where are you at? You just wake
this
up.
Is your brain on drugs.
You just wake up in the back seat of a Toyota pickup for some fucking reason.
Yeah, so, you know, he's in his bed, whatever. And then, or like his sister's bed? I don't know. He runs in and his sister's in his room looking at his drug box with the fucking Diablo. And she's like, well, maybe if I do drugs, Michael will be my friend again.
Well, before that happens, like, she walks in and they start talking and he gets mad and he storms off.
And he domestic violences her.
Yeah.
He, like, grabs her wrist and is like, if you tell Mom, I swear, blah, blah. And she's like, Michael, you're hurting me. And I was like, whoa, dude. Like, you smoke weed and then violence?
Then she finds the box and she's like, what's this? Because Smoke pops up. He's like, hey, I'm your brother's friend, Smoke.
You, thinking about doing drugs?
And she's like, Michael's mad at me. Maybe if I do the drugs, Michael will not be mad at me because he likes this stuff too.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, before that happened, he's looking in the mirror.
Yeah, and
he looks like a zombie.
He sees the Michael Jackson Thriller, like, version of himself.
Yeah, it looks like a zombie.
Yeah, he literally looks like a decaying corpse.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they were trying to get at with that. They're like, oh, you don't even recognize yourself, do you? But it's like, that's not what he looks like.
And that's when, like, Alf shows up.
Yeah.
They're like in this crazy like mirror fucking room and it's like Michael seeing all these reflections of like past and present and then like
he sees this version of himself that Alf is like, look, if you don't stop doing drugs, you're gonna look like Michael Jackson in the Thriller video. And he sees this potential future version of himself and he freaks out. And that's what kind of makes him wanna stop doing drugs.
And then, like, when Corey and Pooh go to Michael's room, they find his smoke box with his Diabolo. And Smoke shows up and, like, locks Pooh up.
In the cabinet.
Yeah.
He locks him in the cabinet.
And that's when he starts talking to Corey and trying to convince her to start doing drugs.
Yeah, and she almost just about does them. But then Michael, with a changed heart, comes running in the door to see his sister on the verge of falling into the same trap.
Not yet. Daffy Duck.
Oh yeah, Daffy Duck is psychic.
So like Michael's still like just tripping and he finds Daffy Duck who's reading an 8-ball.
Not that kind of 8-ball.
8-ball, fuck. He's like reading a bowling ball. As a
crystal ball.
And his future looks even fucking worse. Now he's like, oh no, that's when he goes back. And like he wants to like apologize and change and stuff and stops her because she's about to.
Yeah. So then they have this really heartwarming talk where Michael's like, oh, I'm so sorry for doing drugs and being a bad brother and don't ever do drugs. I need help. Let's go talk to Mom and Dad. Like, you know how all drug interventions go.
Like Smoke shows up and like tosses Smoke out the door, out the window.
Yeah, he lands in a garbage truck.
Yeah,
and drives away.
He's like, I'll be back. And then all the cartoon characters jump into a poster.
Yeah. So like when we see them going back to Cartoon World or whatever, they all just like Super Mario 64 style into a poster on the wall, and they're all in this poster. And I'm like, well, wait a second. Why didn't they just have them come out of the poster in the first place? So you're telling me that, like, the Smurfs can either at any time occupy the comic book or the poster, but not
or
both
the real
at
world.
the same time. Yeah.
Why can't there be, like, a million Smurfs from, like, all the different printings of the comic book? If you could just clone Smurfs by photocopying this fucking book.
It doesn't make any sense. Maybe like Michael just doesn't notice because he's high as fuck all the time. He's having these crazy trips.
Like, I don't understand. If they go into the poster, she goes, reads her comic book. She's like, where's Papa fucking Smurf at? Where'd this poster come from?
Dude.
And why is Daffy Duck next to Donald Duck's nephews? You know, that poster wouldn't make any real sense because it's all these different brands.
Speaking of posters, apparently on Amazon, you can buy like the original poster that was put in movie stores to promote the movie. It's like got a picture of the cover and it says rent here and whatever. You can buy that on Amazon for like $12. And I was like, honestly kind of tempted.
Don't do that.
I was looking up pictures of the cover of the movie, and I ended up finding one that seemed a little off. It had, with the Powerpuff Girls, Jenny from My Life as a Teenage Robot, like all of these cartoon characters that weren't in the movie and as a matter of fact existed way after 1990. And so we were like, what the fuck? Did someone just Photoshop this? What is this? And I click on it and it takes me to this like DVD store website.
Yeah, it's a DVD store, and I said this has to be
.pk, so it's like a Pakistani website. And they're selling a DVD that they claim is Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue using this oddly photoshopped cover. They don't use alternative covers for any other DVD in their store.
The other thing that's weird about it, right, is like it's completely redrawn because there's parts of it that match, but it's different. So like both covers have purple curtains, but this was obviously someone drawing these other purple curtains. It is not the same art style, but they are purple curtains and drawn in a similar manner and organized in the same manner.
Like, if you didn't look very hard at it, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that's the cover, whatever.
Yeah, it would definitely pass.
But then you think for half a second, and you're like, well, wait, they weren't in that.
If you haven't seen it and you weren't familiar with what time frame it came out in, and someone showed it, someone explained, oh yeah, there was a anti-drug PSA and all these Saturday morning cartoon characters came together in a big ass crossover. If that's how you explain it and you show them that cover,
or think of it this way: there are people who grew up in Pakistan with no knowledge of American cartoons. And for whatever reason, someone decided to Photoshop their own cover, even though
they obviously had access to the original because so much of it matches the original.
Yeah, but it's not the same. That it's like, what would drive someone to Photoshop this in the first place?
It was like someone was tasked with recreating it. It'd be one thing if it just said Cartoon All-Stars had an alternative logo and it was obviously like something completely fan done. They would say, okay, they didn't have access to a high enough file of the original, so they had to just make up something. That would make more sense. But the fact that this is replicating aspects of the original, like I said, it means they have access to the original. Why didn't they use the original art?
Well, what if, humor me this, when they Googled the picture for Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue, this like weird like piece of deviant art pops up as the first result.
I was just thinking that, like, what if...
I did see like some other fan edits and I'm like, maybe there was a fucking thread on DeviantArt one day or something.
Like, what if Cartoon All-Stars came out in 2002?
Yeah. That's really plausible, right?
I feel like that could definitely have been like a thing on the Something Awful forum.
That it's like, oh my god, like the like ship people, like fan fiction, like shippers, that they're probably like, if I could make my own Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue, these are the cartoons that I would have in it.
Yeah.
Like, that's
100%, dude. Like, that's entirely so fucking valid.
Pakistani bootleggers are making their website and they're like just pulling in a database of movies and Googling the picture, and like that's the first one that happens to pop up, and they don't know American cartoons, so they're like, yeah, okay,
that's fine.
Seems legit.
Well, it's like I said, it's high enough quality that it definitely passes.
Yeah.
That like you could ship it. You could ship that.
Yeah.
You could definitely throw it into a DVD insert, put it on a shelf, and no one's going to question it. And
it was only like $8. And I was like, okay, I have to fucking get this. Like, what an awesome thing to have. And
you got a Pakistani DVD-R. It might not even have that fucking like
I don't know.
insert.
Okay,
We saw some
it for the
bootleg
cover.
DVDs like the other day when we were thrifting.
Yeah.
And, like, it was just like a plastic bag and
Somebody bootlegged like fucking Medea's Christmas or
the
something.
Medea one was crazy because that was on VHS.
Yeah.
And it also had a note written on the label. So that Medea VHS was very interesting because it looked fairly high production. It was a full slipcover and everything.
Yeah. But obviously like printed off of someone's computer.
Like onto like some thick cardstock that they folded up.
Yeah.
But
And it said like happy birthday on it or something.
it was like it was a decent little note. Like it said happy birthday on the outside, but then like when you pull the tape out on the tape's label, it also had a note like written like more hope this finds you, blah 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 blah. Anyway, no, the DVD bootlegs we saw that were just in the plastic bag, and they had the insert printed on an inkjet printer just slipped in there with the DVD-R.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like there's not even like a case.
Dude, some of the prices, like for what they charge, they better give me a fucking slip cover.
Some of the things are like $50-$60 for these bootlegs. They're obviously bootlegs. They claim they're import, but that's just, slang for bootleg.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever. This one is $8. Fuck it. I'll go to privacy.com. I'll go fucking get a temporary card number for $8 and purchase this.
Right.
But they have a $15 minimum. And that really is like the minimum price of anything on their store.
They have a lot of shit that's just bullshit too. Like they're charging like $8 for a YouTube video.
Yeah.
The Weird Simpsons VHS off of YouTube. It's a minute and a half, and they were charging $8 for that. Because you're like, what the fuck is this? It's a DVD of something called Weird Simpsons. Like, oh, that's a
yeah,
clip.
it's
I've
like
seen that.
Weird Simpsons VHS 2015 is what it's called.
Yeah. This
And it's
minute
like,
and a half
what?
YouTube
What
video.
is that? And we look it up on YouTube.
Yep.
And it's just, like a fucking short ass cartoon.
It's a parody of the intro.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And so charging $8 for that. They have some stuff that claims it's like 4K Ultra HD, and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm like, for $60 fucking dollars.
I mean, that's how much they cost here, but like, through my years of anime bootleggery, I know that what they say on the box isn't always what you get. That's just how it goes.
True. But I gotta say, I was curious. It's like,
we'll do
man,
something.
I'm intrigued. I've, made a little list, some movies off of there that I'd like to buy and maybe talk about on the show. But, for $15, $25, I'm like, for a bootleg, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
For the meme, am I willing to pay that much for the meme? I don't know.
It's not worth it to me.
No.
Like, $25 is almost how much like the VHS goes for.
Yeah, man.
This is a pricey VHS if you're trying to look for it.
Yeah, but apparently if you worked in a school or something, like they would literally send you a free copy. We found a picture of this. It's like a scan of this form that if you were in a school or something, you could submit it to the fucking McDonald's VHS headquarters or whatever, and they'd be like, all right, send them a free copy, because they just wanted people to see it so bad.
You know what makes me really curious about this tape?
What?
Since we're just talking about the tape itself, we saw there's a beta copy out there.
Yeah.
And if you don't know about when beta was dying and you're listening to this, beta was fucking absolutely dead at 1990. Sony had already stopped making machines. Sony had stopped putting movies out for like 5 years, but other companies were still putting out movies. But like Sony had already shifted to releasing movies on VHS, manufacturing parts of VHS decks, and then by 1989 they began selling Sony branded VHS decks, and they had already stopped making beta for years. So who needed a beta copy of this fucking tape? How many are out there?
Well, maybe they were for broadcast.
I want to say that, but at the same time, it had a full slipcover. Broadcast betas don't typically have a slipcover with artwork. If it has a slipcover, it would be just like, like a file name, essentially. It's weird. Like,
Maybe they were just like, Put it on as many formats as humanly possible.
I wonder if, like, when you ordered it, you could get beta. Like, I know McDonald's didn't have the betas, but, like, imagine what if you're, like, ordering the form. It's like, what format do you need? VHS, beta, film reel? Here's a fun fact. Notice how that's a sticker?
Yeah.
But it's a beta tape inside of the VHS box. Beta was so dead that they said fuck it on making a beta box for this and like taking the money to make an injection mold or anything like that. It was put the beta tape into the bigger VHS box and slap a beta sticker over the VHS logo.
Wow.
That started happening at the end of beta's lifespan, and like I said, this was 1990, so that's how dead this format was.
Fuck.
I kind of want it. If I want to have this tape, it's gonna be.
Man, I kind of wanted that poster. You know, there's something about it that it's so like, I don't know. They tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter because they had good intentions. But mostly the programs were ineffective. The war on drugs has been deemed a failure.
Absolutely.
So they did make some changes to the DARE program in a way that was more interactive, and I guess it's been shown to be more effective.
2009.
Yeah.
Keep it real.
Keep it real.
DARE.
Yeah. That like DARE, they used to just sit us down in a room and they were like, hey, well, you know, kids, they'll just, they'll listen to authority. And so we would have a fucking police officer come in and just talk at us for like an entire hour.
Fuck
that
yeah.
like, I don't know. It was so bad. And the kids were so bored and they're not being given realistic information.
All it really would take, like if in particular with weed, statistically, kids were around it, you know?
Yeah.
So saying, this is going to turn you into a dope fiend and this and this and this. How many kids, a large portion of them go, well, Greg's mom smokes weed.
I mean, yeah, what's with that, like, that one PSA? The dad's like, where'd you learn to do this stuff? And he's
I
like,
learned it from watching you. And that's exactly
Classic.
my point. Like,
Yeah.
it's statistically, a lot of kids were already not going to listen because they had firsthand experience with it not fucking up lives. Because as we know, marijuana doesn't fuck up your life unless you're arrested for it. That's how the Crash Dummies PSA, you know, why that worked.
yeah,
Because-
it's just the boomerang effect completely.
The Crash Dummies said, we're going to laugh with you. We're going to make you laugh. And you're going to remember positively that I'm going to, oh yeah, I'm going to laugh. Those guys made me laugh. I buckled my seatbelt. Yeah. Versus you being told not to do something. And now it's like, well, now I'm going to do even harder.
Yep. Yeah, that like actually drug usage went up among DARE graduates.
Yeah.
That like, holy shit, it was producing the opposite effect. I guess I see it as it's a glimpse into the past. It's a relic. It's kind of iconic because it represents a school of thought that, you know, we were basically the guinea pigs for. And we've reached a point in history where we can reflect on that time and see its results and assess those results. And we're assessing that like, oh, we were a failed experiment. And just seeing those seeds being planted, like that's what Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue is. And I just find that utterly fascinating. And here we are, high as fuck, talking about it on a podcast.
I remember having like a DARE pin at work, like ironically.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that wear like DARE shirts ironically.
Yeah.
Now, like,
and you know what? Honestly, like, what better way to stick it to the man?
I always felt like tacky wearing one.
Yeah.
Like I remember I had a shirt that was like, you know, they gave them away at school and shit, you know. When would I wear this DARE shirt?
Ironically, while doing drugs.
I'm not thinking about that back in the year like 1999.
Yeah.
I'm already like a nerdy kid. Now I'm wearing the free t-shirt. Like,
Yeah. There's something just tacky about wearing a free t-shirt, right?
like, it's one thing if the t-shirt looks cool, but it's just the free t-shirt for DARE for the school program. And like, I don't know, that made me feel like
You know what's really crazy? I just had this thought. So everyone at some point gets a free t-shirt, right? For something.
Okay.
I feel like the t-shirt racks at Goodwill are just those t-shirts. Then what we do is we all get together as a society. We get free t-shirts. We donate them to Goodwill, and then people go to Goodwill and spend money to buy other people's free t-shirts.
You're probably pretty close. Like, it's not obviously not all of them, but holy shit, it is quite a bit of like free t-shirts, free uniforms. Like, oh, it's a Chipotle t-shirt. Yeah. Oh, it's a Starbucks shirt. Oh, got a shirt from 343 for Halo and fuck Infinity the other day. Like, when we were out thrifting for tapes. Here's a free shirt from the gym.
I feel like every piece just tells a story, right? Like,
that's why I bought the 343 shirt. I thought, like, oh, that's kind of cool.
You get a vibe off of it. You can kind of sense, like, who would purchase such a thing, or why would someone own such a thing?
Senior volleyball get together, March 14th, 1997.
Right.
And you're like, oh, I guess I know that at American Lake there was a volleyball tournament for seniors in March 1997.
It must have been quite an event.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that happened here. Like, next time we go.
You know that Kelsey wore that shirt with pride for years, and then it's time for her to go to college. She's got to downsize. You know, she's like, all right, it's time to get rid of my volleyball tournament shirt, and she donates it to the Goodwill with her other stuff.
We see like a shirt that's custom made for somebody, and it's like
the airbrush.
Airbrush shirts, or like one where it's obviously got like someone's like nickname on them, and like, why was he called Heavyweight?
Or some slogans that just like don't make sense, and you're like, why is it on a shirt?
Yeah. Because it was like part of like a promotion of like something else that was going on.
Yeah.
Like,
and without context, you're just like, what? I love thrifting, really. It's really interesting to look through old shit.
Cartoon All-Stars is a very interesting time capsule of the past, both in the context of where we were at in society, both with like the war on drugs, but also just where pop culture was at with all the cartoons that were there.
Yeah, totally. I liked it. To sum up, I like it. It's my kind of content. I say go for it.
I mean, it's available for free on YouTube at this point. Just watch it there. Don't shell out $40 for the VHS tape, because that's apparently what it goes for on the secondhand market.
Damn. Yeah. Or $8 for a Pakistani bootleg with an inaccurate cover.
How much is the shipping going to be on that?
I don't know.
There's like a note that like if your shipping's too high, to message them and you can work something out.
Yeah, it's a really weird business model.
Like, we're gonna barter. Like,
I'm so intrigued by it.
They take money transfer.
Yeah, but if you're in the U.S., they take PayPal. So
I'm sure that was because they're like, sketchy things happen when money transfers overseas.
Yeah, dude.
Well, we're not sus. We're just selling some
we're
imports.
Not sus. We're just us.
We're just selling some import DVDs. No, they're not bootlegs. They're imports.
They're imports.
So they're Chinese imports. That's like, no, I'm not even joking. Like that.
Oh shit.
What?
Yeah, dude. They are.
That's what they get. Yeah, it's technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. Like,
let's wrap this up. So yeah, I liked it. Give it a watch.
Don't.
Don't. Even if you're high?
No, it's not worth it.
It's okay.
I want my 30 minutes back.
All right, folks. It's past midnight, and we're ready to put this 420 celebration to a close. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Please have a splendid 420. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Visit our website, VHSaturday.com. We have a mailing list if you'd like to sign up for updates.
We'll see you next week, but until then, remember, be kind, rewind.